Hello, everybody. My name is Sherelle. This is my first video. I am creating this channel really to share my bariatric journey. I can't say where the channel will go. I just know right now this is where we're going to start. I just want to talk about my journey, share. Hopefully, it will help somebody else. I will say 90% of my journey I have YouTube and tried to find other people who've also gone down the and I'm sorry. So my journey of my bariatric surgery. So the channel is called Sherelle Talks Bariatrics. I am planning to have the VSG, which is the vertical sleeve. Initially, I was planning on having gastric bypass, but just going through the whole journey and learning more, I set with having the sleeve. So I am 28. I am 5'3", and currently I am about 280 pounds on any given day, between 270, 280, somewhere up in there, okay? My BMI is like 40 something, like mid to high 40s, 45, 48, something there. That is considered morbidly obese, okay? Some scales will do severe obesity, but on the typical scale, CDC scale, you're getting morbidly obese as like um the top category for is being overweight. So my weight has always been something that I've struggled with for real. Like even younger, I struggle with my weight. and and maybe you could call it body dysmorphia or whatever we all, perceive ourselves to be, how we see ourselves. Because now that I look back at like some of my old photos and stuff like that, in my mind at that time I was big. I felt like I was too big. But looking back now, it's like if I could just get back to that point, or if I could get back to that around that weight, I would be happy. So yeah, it's always been an up and down thing. After I had my daughter, that's when I really started to see like a change in my weight and all that stuff. I had my daughter when I was 17. So after having her, I went from about one something, like how mid to high ones, like 170, 180, somewhere up in there, to being like 220 pounds. I was able to drop a lot of weight. About around the time my daughter was about 4 years old, I was able to drop a lot of weight. I was able to get back down to about 170, 185. I kind of maintained up in there until about almost 3 years ago. So right before moving back home to my hometown, I started noticing that I was like gaining weight, and I had kind of blamed the weight gain on some medicine that I was taking for my skin, because I was experiencing hormonal acne. And if you've ever experienced hormonal acne, you know that it can be a nightmare, like Rice Krispie treat. So that was pretty bad. So I started taking this medicine called spironolactone, and some of the research I did say that did cause weight gain. So in my mind, okay, boom, this is medicine I'm taking. It's causing me to gain weight. So anyways, I stopped the medicine. My skin started to clear up, so I stopped taking the medicine. But I had already went from like 195 pounds or 200 pounds to, every time I went to the doctor after moving home, I was 220, 230, 245, 248, 250, 260, until it just continued to gain, until like it's like what happened. Um I will say that I really became conscious of my weight and being overweight, and how being overweight had started to make me feel about a year and a half ago. Um like I said, even feeling like I was overweight or not happy with my weight at 170 pounds, it did not feel like 230 pounds, 240 pounds. It felt much better than 200 plus pounds. So some of the things, so I made some notes just because I wanted to make sure I didn't miss any talking points. So so my doctor mentioned VSG to me, just bariatric surgery to me, about 2 years ago, and I didn't think much of it. When you hear gastric bypass or you hear any type of bariatric surgery, you think about like somebody who's, you know, visibly overweight and in a bad condition. You think about all this negativity, these, and from far as I had ever knew, it was a huge, cut down the center of your stomach. That was nothing that I was, interested in thinking about or even considering. But moving back home, my new primary doctor, she was the first doctor I will say that ever actually took the time to, who made me feel like she cared about how I felt about my body and what was going on with me. Because when I met her, she started me down a new path when it came down to my health. We had some appointments and we talked about some different things, and I expressed to her how I felt about myself and just like how I felt about my weight, and that's kind of how the ball got to rolling. um so she told me how the process looked. I started to do more research on it, and I didn't really jump at it right away. I kind of left it at, boom, at that. But in the following months, things started to happen that made me really, really think more about, like, consider, like, hey, this is something that I probably need to really look at. So one of my first indications was I took my daughter to do a zip lining course that I had already done before at least one time with my sister. And when we went through it, I mean, it was great. It was fun. I was able to climb like the towers and stuff to get to the jumps. And then, most zip line, tours, you go from one jump through like a course through trees through another jump, and it was 7 jumps total. We went through all the little log courses up in the trees, everything. It was great. Now, come back about 2 years ago, moving home, I went to do that same zip line course with my daughter. And when I tell you, I knew something was wrong. Walking up those stairs was the hardest physical thing I felt like I had ever done. And it was so crazy because it was something I had done before. So in my mind, I knew what to expect. And I know that what I'm experiencing now is not what I experienced like less than 3 years prior to that, going through that same course. I literally was having to let people, hey, just go around me. Like, I'll meet y'all at the top because I'm so like beat down from going maybe 10, 15 stairs, trying to consistently just keep moving to not hold up the people behind me, to where I just could not take it. Like, I gotta stop. Y'all go around, we'll go right around. Um, I put on a big smile, but in my mind, mentally, it was like a, hey, this is something that you really need to get a grip on, because you just did this. You should not be struggling this bad. Like, your back should not be hurting. You should not feel like you're about to give out of breath and collapse at any moment. It shouldn't be like that. So that was like one of the first little things that happened that made me really consider the surgery. Um, but I think after that, that really kind of set me in motion to want to move forward and actually getting it done. Just as well as realizing small things after that, I started to notice everything. Like, I was having a hard time bending over and tying my shoes. I have to almost throw my foot like to the side and kind of lean over to tie my shoe. Even when I try to cross my legs, like, I can't cross my legs anymore. And I'm the type of person that sits at my desk in my office with my legs slap this way in the computer like this all day. So I just noticed that that type of stuff had started to happen. um and then even something recently with my family, we went to Six Flags for, just a quick weekend trip with the family, somewhere that my daughter and I have gone like hundreds of times. I mean, I remember one summer we were going like every other weekend. So I'm 100% familiar with the park. Okay, been all over the park, just know the park. And we went as a family a couple weeks back, maybe about a month ago, and I could not get on half the rides at the park. I mean, all my favorite rides, and this was just 2 years ago, right before we moved home. I could not get on any of my favorite rides, and my mom, dad, my little sister, little brother, my daughter, it was me. And so I'm just grateful that I was with the right people, because they're part of my journey, they're my support system. They just love me right on through it. And my mom made sure that she's not a roller coaster ride anyway. So, she's on the side, she's the bag holder, she's the, ooh, that was great. That's her job. So she's there for the water park. But she just made sure, try to make sure I was okay. And of course, I just kept a smile and just got through the day. But really on the inside, like, I felt so low. I felt so low. It just hurt my feelings to be at a place where I can't even enjoy life, the things that I do, like the things that I normally do. I'm very adventurous. I love to travel. I love to be outside and do different things. So realizing that my health has gotten to a point where I can't even do the basic things that just normal stuff. If I walk too long, my back starts to hurt. All this craziness. So after I met Dr. Keisha, right, she put me pretty much on the path for bariatric surgery. Had some weird experiences that really kind of made me lock in on, hey, this is what I want to do. At first, I was decided with the bypass because I'm like, I know that this has been something that's been up and down for me for pretty much all my life, and I want a tool that's gonna help me have permanent long-term success, not just a quick fix now, boom. No, I wanted something that was going to help me stay in a healthy place long term, and the bypass seemed like the better option. But the more that I learned about them, there are more risks associated with the bypass versus the sleeve, because the bypass, it is dealing with more than just your stomach. It's dealing with your large and your small intestine as well. Versus just the sleeve, it's only dealing with your stomach. Both of the surgeries pretty much have the same outcome. It's just with that bypass, there's really not it's harder to get a revision because it's dealing with multiple organs, versus the sleeve is only dealing with your stomach. So you have the option to revise it or go from the sleeve to a bypass later on in different later years, if so need be. And even knowing that before, I'm like, well, I don't see myself ever needing again, because once I get this done, baby, that's it, girl. It's a wrap. We're not going through all this now to just go back to our old ways. But when my new coordinator, she explained it to me. What if I have more children? My daughter now is 11 years old, and I don't really see me having more kids. But just what if, right? Or what if, and then I can't get the weight off, and I start to go backwards, or just whatever could happen, and I need it again. Then the bypass will be there if I want to revert to that one, or vice versa. It just leaves more room open. In terms of the weight loss amount, you're gonna really lose about the same amount of weight either way you go. It's just all about how invasive each one is compared to the other. So that really made me lock in on saying, hey, I'm gonna get the sleeve, right? Get the sleeve, be done with it. Now, what really brought all this in full circle for me when it came to really being aware of my body and stuff was my doctor. I was recently diagnosed with PCOS. And if you have never heard of PCOS, it is pretty much polycystic ovary syndrome. And it does have side effects that contribute to weight gain, being insulin resistant, which also affects you being diabetic. It contributes to you having elevated A1C levels. That hormonal acne, that PCOS contributes to that. It contributes to hair loss. It contributes to women having pretty much male hair follicles, like maybe in the bearded area or in the chin or in just the place where a man would grow hair on our chest, places like that. It does cause women to have those type of issues. So a lot of as well as irregular periods, that's a very, very common symptom. If you're having irregular periods, I would most definitely like, hey doctor, can you test me for PCOS, because my periods are very all over the place. That's one of the three indicators for them to decide or diagnose you with it. So PCOS, like I was just saying, there are three different things that doctors look at to give you a diagnosis. And if you have two of the three, then you're pretty much PCOS. But for me, I have all three of the symptoms of PCOS. So when Dr. Keisha push, and they actually got all these different labs back from all the different symptoms I've had over the years and put them all together, it all equated PCOS. It made me really emotional, and it made me really love her and want to follow her wherever she goes, because some of these symptoms I've had for years. I've never had a regular period, always, as long as I can ever remember. And then when it finally does come on, it's like all out madness. That's not a good sign. That's not healthy for a woman, right? We're supposed to have a cycle. And it's something that I've always shared with my daughters, and nobody's ever thought about, like, hey, let's take a look at that. My weight has always been something I've struggled with. For a 5'3" woman, I've always been elevated in weight. Like, nobody's ever stopped to say, hey, let's look at, your A1C level. Let's look at this and this and that. Until I started like pushing these things individually because of my symptoms, and going after the different specialists to address these different things, did my doctor stop and say, okay, all these things you're having, looking at them individually, they're this, they're that, but if I take all these things and couple them together, this is what it sounds to me like you're experiencing. And this is something that we need to look at, because PCOS can lead to cervical cancer in women if it's not addressed, because it's causing us to not have regular periods, which is 100% not healthy for us if we're not on some form of birth control. All right. So PCOS, we can talk about that in another video. I'm not gonna go deep down into it, but found out I had PCOS really kind of brought everything back in, because I'm like, okay, PCOS that's what caused my skin, and it's like I had some type of outbreak, because it started with the skin and then it went into weight gain. It's like I had some type of outbreak in that moment. It's like I had a flare up almost. My PCO flared up, I would say. So now that I've locked in on the surgery and I've decided, hey, I'm getting the surgery, whatever, I start the process. At the time, the insurance that I had covered it 100%. All I had to do was go through the 6-month program with my local hospital or whatever, or local bariatric center. And here we have Phoebe Bariatric. So I went through the process with them, and I literally went through the whole entire program with them. My surgery, so I went through the whole program, and my surgery date was set for February 6th, I think, of 2024. But coming into the new year, I had plan changes, and the insurance no longer covered the surgery at all, or any type of weight loss. Anything coded bariatric from your doctor was not going to be covered. Anything that fell into weight loss management, other than like diabetic medicine, stuff like that, was not going to be covered. So it gave me no support in it whatsoever. So right, I was at my last appointment, which is where you just sign all of your waivers and stuff for surgery, which is like a couple days before the surgery. And I was like 2 weeks out from that. So we put everything on pause, because at that point I'm like, okay, well, let me look at other insurance options. Let me really kind of explore these new plans and see what we have. I even tried to go like the marketplace stuff for the state. That did not work. Nothing worked. So it really put me in a very depressed place, because I was right there at having surgery. I had went through all this mental battle of, even saying, okay, hey, I'm ready to do this, just for somebody to say, oh, too bad, it's not happening. So it was a hard pill to swallow, that, okay, I've gotten all the way to this point after months and months of doing the work, changing my eating habits, taking my vitamins, getting my protein in, going to my meetings every month, sitting in my counseling sessions, on top of doing outpatient procedures where I was put on anesthesia in preparation for it. I'm sure you guys know what the EGD is, having all this stuff done just to say, oh, well, we're not going to cover it. So I had literally considered going to Mexico to have my surgery. Now, I will say this: I am not against going out of the country to have surgery. I've seen a lot of reviews. I've connected with a lot of different girls, a lot of different women throughout my journey in the different support groups and stuff, and just doing my research that have gone out of the country, whether it be for the actual surgery itself or some type of follow up surgery to have skin removal or tummy tuck or just whatever they feel like they want to have their outside match their insides. So I was 100% head gun ho on, look, this is what I'm doing. You know, if I can't have it here in the States, I don't got time to wait, another 6 months, another year, hoping that another, something to change or whatever. I'm just going to do this because my job doesn't cover it. It'll be next year before anything is changed. And more than likely, if we just lost the plan that covered the surgery, they're not about to pick one right back up the next year. So I was set on going out of the country. I had found me a facility, had started talking to the coordinators there, had done some research. Some of the ladies in one of my support groups had been there. Like I saw a lot of them had used that facility. So I pretty much had done the same thing as far as looking into them and getting the process going. Um, um, my mom was not happy with that at all. Like, she wasn't feeling that. She wasn't going for it. And for me, it's like, I've made up my mind. I'm doing this. Either way, the surgery is happening. So, um, I had to make up my mind. But my mom is my biggest supporter, and because she was so unsettled with it, it really made me want to consider how she felt a little more. So I just really, after taking some self-care time to really kind of gain control of my feelings about all of this, because it was emotional. Like, I had to really uh get myself emotionally strong after, like, that door being closed, because it was very emotional. It was something that I had made my mind up about, and I was, looking forward to. um I said, you know what, God, I'm gonna wait on you, because one thing I know is what's for me is for me. And God has guided me over the years and shown up and shown out for me in every aspect of my life, to where I know that if I just hold on, it's something better coming. It's a reason why this door has closed here. There's a reason why this did not work out this way that I wanted to. Doesn't mean it's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen right now in the way that I had planned. So I said, you know what, God, I'm already looking for another job. And the insurance was not the reason I was looking for another job. But that was like the cherry on top to say, you know what, I'm just not happy with this company. I don't really get anything I need from them. They pay me well, but that's all they do. I just get paid. I'm not fulfilled. I'm not happy at work. I'm not happy in my environment. I don't even feel like I'm really using my abilities or my knowledge to better where I work or really gain anything for myself. So I just said, hey, let's start looking. Um, so boom, found a new job. Like I said, my surgery was initially scheduled for February, first week in February of 2024, and that door closed. And I started with my new job the first of April. So less than 2 months later, God had whipped that thing back around to a new company that was paying me pretty much double my salary that I was making at my old job. And the benefits are like mind-blowingly good. They literally have a whole program just for bariatric medicine, weight loss medicine. I know a lot of people are doing like the Manjaro and Ozempic and all that stuff. They cover all of that. All of that stuff is covered, as well as having a full-blown program just for bariatric medicine. So to kind of get into that a little bit, we have this program that we're partnering with this company called Carum Health. And what Carum does is for certain types of surgeries, which is usually like surgeries related to cancer, uh, heart surgeries, I think, for sure bariatric surgery, a couple different ones, they cover fully out of pocket, fully, all expenses covered, aside from your deductible. So whatever your deductible is, that's all you're gonna have to pay. They're gonna cover everything else. And on top of that, they require that you use a center of excellence. So the centers of excellence are on a scale when it comes down to like surgery and performing these different procedures. They are highly, regarded. They hold different awards and honors, federal awards, state awards, industry leading awards and stuff, recognizing their hospitals and their centers for the great work they've done. They have a higher level of success rate. They have a higher ratio of clients that they're seeing and performing these surgeries for consistently. So if you're going to have a surgery, you want to go to the center of excellence for it. So if you're going to have eye surgery, I want to go to the eye surgery center of excellence, because I know that they are held to a standard. They're performing at a certain level and a certain standard. And compared to our local hospital here, any center of anywhere else would probably make us look like a, a tech school. I mean, I don't know, but yeah. So Carum pretty much covers everything. Carum covers your full surgery. The only thing you have to pay for out of pocket is your deductible. Now, if you are smart like me, okay, and being blessed to start my job, or coming in, when you come in, you can start a new job. Knowing coming in that I already wanted the surgery, I was able to pick the plan with the lowest deductible. That way, once I paid my deductible, everything else is covered. Now, of course, that does come with a higher premium, but I'd rather pay a few extra dollars to go ahead and have my surgery now, and then when the new year comes in, just change to whatever plan I would prefer. So my plan deductible is only $500. Okay, Carum, and they require that you have your deductible paid at least 2 weeks before surgery. So you have 2 weeks. They'll invoice you 2 weeks out. No, I'm sorry. They'll invoice you 2 weeks out before your surgery, and then you have to have it paid 1 week before. So $500. Planning for that over a couple of months. That's pretty easy. So it is what, July 1st now. So, like I said, I started my job in April. It's July now, so it's the ball the ball is pretty much rolling. My new surgery date is scheduled for July 22nd. So that's like 3 weeks away. So I'm excited, because I'm going to use the Chicago Institute of Advanced Surgery, will be my center that I'm using. Karam does pay for one companion to go with you, whoever you want that to be. For me, it's going to be my mom, and they pay for your travels there. So they're going to pay for our flights. They're going to pay for our hotel. They're also going to pay for they give us a per diem for any meals and all that stuff, as well as paying you, like they pay you for going. Aside from your per diem for your meals and all that stuff, your Ubers and all that stuff back and forth, they cover all of that stuff. And even though like we can't eat once we have the surgery, they're still giving you that per diem for being out there. My biggest concern with the whole traveling thing is, okay, well, you're gonna pay for me to go and pay for me to come home in my hotel. That's great, but what if, after 3 or 4 days, I'm not, or 5 days, my body does not feel up to flying, way back down to South Georgia. Like I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that. But my coordinator, like she told me, they don't rush you to come home. If you decide you need to live in that hospital for 8, 9, 10 days, well, at the hotel, that's fine, because they will give you up to 14 days there before you're required to travel home, unless you have some type of complication where you need to stay longer, which is very, very uncommon. They just don't rush you back. I don't even think they book the return. I think it's a one-way flight, because they don't know exactly when you're going to come back. I do know that they require you to stay at least 5 days, because you're going to have to be seen by that doctor again before they allow you to come home after that 5 days. If you're ready to go, then hey, you can go. I'm only gonna stay the five, no more than 7 days. I want to come on back home. Because I'm trying to have it before school starts, so that way it does not interfere with my daughter going to school this year. Those first couple days. So this has been a very emotional process and a very emotional journey, and I will say that it is not one to be taken lightly. I think a lot of people feel like if you have bariatric surgery, oh, you're taking the easy way out. But I don't believe this is the easy way out, because the surgery is just like that's the easiest thing to do, is to have the surgery. You can have the surgery, boom, but after that, that's when the work actually kicks in. That's when the mental, the emotional, the physical, that's when all that stuff kicks in. I know some people think, oh, you just want to get skinny and all that stuff, but for me, it's not even about being skinny, because I've always been a thick, curvy girl, and I still want my 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 hips, my thighs. Like, I like all of that. I just want to be at a healthy weight to where I'm not worried about having an aneurysm, or having a stroke, because I'm so overweight. My body is stressing and my blood is all this different stuff. Like, my daughter's 11, I'm 28 years old. I'm not trying to leave anytime soon. I want to be an old woman with grandchildren, if not great grandchildren, running around here before I start thinking about it's time for the good Lord to call me home. Um, so it's not the easy way out. On this channel, I just want to share my journey. And because I know how hard it is, dealing with the emotions of weight loss and feeling like people don't really understand, because I feel like until you've had to deal with it yourself, this is one of those things where it really is hard to relate to, because it's not an external problem, it's an internal problem. These are problems that you're dealing with internal about yourself, that is really hard to help somebody else understand. you know it just is. Even for the people who love you most, they won't really understand. They won't, because other people look at you, and I hear all the time, oh, you how much, girl? You wear it well, girl. You shape. You might be 200 something pounds, but you shape right. Like, that doesn't make me feel better. you know um because you don't understand how it feels to be inside of the skin. I want to be physically attractive and physically appealing, but at the same time, I care about being healthy and being alive long term. And like I said, being around to see my lineage continue to grow. Um, so for me, it's just all about being healthy, having a happier lifestyle, knowing that I'm going to be around for a long time, to be a mother, to be a friend, to be all those things. I am having surgery for me. I am having surgery for my daughter. I'm having surgery for my mom, for my family, because I want to be around. I want to be around. And the surgery is just going to allow me to have a fresh start at doing better, because it's easier said than done. Hey, just work out and eat healthy. It's easier. It's easy to say that, but when you've tried everything from keto to stuff like Jenny Craig and all that stuff online, these different meal prep kits, hell, even trying starvation. Like, I may lose a couple of pounds, but I'm going to extreme measures to get that. Even when I had lost weight before, um, I didn't lose weight just because, oh, I'm just doing better, because I was really going through a hard time. And mentally and emotionally, I was stressed the hell out, to the point where I really was not eating, and I didn't realize it until weeks into what I was dealing with. Like, hey, I'm not eating anything. Like, it's been 2 weeks. And I didn't have the appetite to eat. I didn't have the desire to eat. Like, no matter, eating made me feel sick. I was so stressed out. Um, but that's what caused me to lose weight then. So now it's like I'm not willing to starve myself. I'm not willing to do that, because those are unhealthy ways of doing it. I need a healthy way to help me get to a point where I can take control and I can maintain from there. And I know that it's hard to find people who truly understand that. So I just want to be a support system to all my bariatric sisters and brothers out there. Somebody that is resourceful for other people, and just giving more of insight to what the process really looks like from a different perspective. I know everybody's journey is different. Some people deal with different things. Some people feel different. But all I can do is be honest and share my truth. And that's what I'm here to give to you guys. So if you want to support my channel, if you want to support me, and you want to encourage me to continue doing this, you can like the channel. You can subscribe down below and just join me on this journey. And thank you for taking the time to stop by and hear me talk. Okay? All right. Y'all have a good day. I will talk to y'all next time.